لا, read it. It's from the beginning of the hadith. With the hadith starts. Right. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem. We are still discussing the joint virtues of Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Right. Those hadith that speaks about both of the virtues together in the same hadith. Another hadith we're doing, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. One Abdullah ibn Hantab, narrating the authority of Abdullah ibn Hantab, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رأى أبا بكر وعمر, he saw as the Abu Bakr and Umar, فقال هذان السمع والبصر, these two are the sight, the hearing and the sight. And obviously in this context here, what you mean is my hearing and my sight. In other words, they are my ears and they're my eyes. هذان السمع والبصر. Shurrah, commentators, have mentioned several explanations, like how in your body, your eyes and your ears are one of the most important organs. You can't function without your eyes and ears. You don't know what is happening around you. So to show how important they are. So as Abu Bakr and as Umar, they enjoy the same status. And like how, or it could also mean like how you use your ears to listen, you use your eyes to see. So they are the eyes and the ears of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Like how your eyes are obedient to you, like how your ears are obedient to you. As Abu Bakr and Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu were obedient to Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And another expression could be this, that like how the creation, like how they listen to what is happening. They are receptive to the haqq. They listen to the haqq and they accept the haqq. They see the haqq and they accept the haqq. Whichever one of the explanations you take, which I gave you, all of them is in a positive manner, a positive light for Abu Bakr, that they have a special status in the sight of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Read the next one. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Narrated on the authority of Abi Sa'id Khudri, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said that Rasulullah said, Ma min nabiin illa walahu wazir. Qani, there is no nabi. All the nabis that came, they have two vicegerents, two close companions that assist them, right? Illa walahu wazirani min ahli sama, from amongst the inhabitants of the sky, right? Wa wazirani min ahli al-ardi, and they have two very close vicegerents assist them from the people of the earth. فَأَمَّا وَزِيرَايَ مِنْ أَهْلِ السَّمَاءِ, as for my vicegerents from the people of the sky, فَجِبْرَائِيلُ, the Jibra'il, وَمِيكَائِيل, and Mikail. وَأَمَّا وَزِيرَايَ, and as for my two vicegerents, مِنْ أَهْلِ الْأَرْضِ, from the people of the earth, فَأَبُو بَكْرٍ وَعُمَرُ, the Abu Bakr and Umar. Rawahu Tirmidhi, Imam Tirmidhi narrates this particular riwayat. So you can see this riwayat is amazing, amazing virtue for as Abu Bakr and as Umar, that they are equated to Jibra'il and Mikail, like how Jibra'il and Mikail assist Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the heavens. Yeah, Hazrat Abu Bakr and Umar, they are the close confidants, the close henchmen, the close assistants of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this dunya. All right, so read the next one. Okay, stop there. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وأن أبي بكرة, narrating authority of Abi Bakra, he said, أن رجلا, once a person said, قال لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, we said to Rasul, أرأيت, I saw, maybe like a dream or something, right? أرأيت كأن ميزانا نزل من السماء, like a scale, right? كأن ميزانا نزل من السماء, came down from the sky, right? فوزنت أنت وأبو بكر. So he's referring to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you, Ya Rasulullah and Abu Bakr were weighed. In all you, I still remember, but you won't remember. Maybe I was so small. Before you had electronic scales, you must have saw a scale like this. There's two pens, right? So you put on a one pen, you have a weight. Maybe the weight is 10 grams, right? So if you want to weigh something for 10 grams, you continue filling on the other pen till it's equal. When it's equal, that means that thing is 10 grams. You saw that? We saw it. Loud? Yes, that was mashallah. So if you want to put 1 kilo, for example, you want to weigh 1 kilo, you put the weight of 1 kilo there, right? And then you fill on here until it's equal like that. You understand what I'm saying? So you call it the pen of the scale. What you call it? The pen of the scale. So what he's saying here is, I saw in a dream that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was put on one pen of the scale, and Abu Bakr was put on the other pen of the scale. So obviously, as Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would have been heavier than Abu Bakr, because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is a Nabi after all, and I mean a Nabi, a non-Nabi can never equate to a Nabi, right? And that on top of it, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the greatest Nabi. Remember, we mentioned to you clearly, we say the highest ranking wali, the highest ranking friend of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala cannot equal to the lowest ranking Nabi. Right? So كأن ميزانا نزل من السماء فوزنت أنت وأبو بكر. So يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, you and Abu Bakr were weighed. So obviously فرجحت أنت, right? You were more weighty than Abu Bakr, stands to reason. Then ووزن أبو بكر وعمر, then as Abu Bakr and as Umar radiallahu anhu were weighed. In other words, as Abu Bakr was put on one, that's what he see in the dream, eh? As Abu Bakr was put on one scale of the pen, one pen of the scale, sorry. right? And Umar on the other, فَرَجَحَ أَبُو بَكْرٍ. And obviously, as Abu Bakr came out heavier, then وَوُزِنَ عُمَرُ وَعُثْمَانُ. And as Umar was put on one pan of the scale, and Uthman radiallahu ta'ala was put on the other pan of the scale. فَرَجَحَ عُمَرُ. Then as Umar came out heavier, more weighty, ثُمَّ رُفِعَ الْمِيزَانُ. And after this, the scale was raised up to the sky, right? فَاسْتَأَلَهَا رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم, يعني فَسَاءَهُ. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he disliked this. That was, he disliked this, that after Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu was weighed, or he was measured, so to say, that the scale was raised to the sky. فَسَاءَهُ ذَلِكَ, that would be the fire, right? So that displeased him. That displeased him, right? فَقَالَ خِلَافَةُ نُبُوَّةٍ. So Nabi Sallallahu said, خِلَافَةُ نُبُوَّةٍ ثُمَّ يُؤْتِي اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. That Allah Ta'ala will give kingdom to whoever he wishes. رواه الترمذي وأبو داود. Imam Tirmidhi and Abu Dawud narrate this particular riwayat. Tell me, what do you understand from this? Even the online people, maybe they can give us try to tell us what is meant by this. What do you understand about this here? What, especially Nabi Sallam's response, خِلَافَةُ نُبُوَّةٍ ثُمَّ يُؤْتِي اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ رواه الترمذي وأبو داود. But Tirmidhi and Abu Dawud narrate this particular right. Just think about it. I want you to think about it and tell me, what do you understand from this here? I give you a minute. Online people can give it a shot also. I don't know if you But you say, okay, we got here, it says, the successor will be whosoever Allah Ta'ala chooses after me. Allah Ta'ala appoint people from the khilaf and judge them. Accordingly, we shouldn't judge. What you say it means, Luqman. The first one answer is loud. Isma, what you say, I don't understand exactly what you are saying, but okay, what we're going to do is, I'm going to tell you what it means, and you must tell me if you understood it like that. What you say, Isma, what it means? Nothing. Pass. What it means is this here. You must tell me, maybe you're saying the same thing, maybe not expressing it correctly. Nabi Sallallahu is saying that, look here, this first three, as the Abu Bakr, as the Umar, and the Uthman, their khilafat will be ala minhaj nubuwah. It will be on the same pattern and the same style of nubuwat. And after that, once as Uthman passes away, then it won't be the same like ala minhaj nubuwah. It will be thumma yu'ti Allahu mulkahu man yasha. Allah Ta'ala will give the kingdom to whoever he wishes. So now normally, just listen nicely. Normally you see that certain ulama, they say clearly that although we the Ahlul, listen nicely what I'm saying, I want you to listen nicely what I'm saying. We the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, our official narrative, listen nicely, is that first was the Abu Bakr, then was the Umar, then was the Uthman, and then was the Ali. That normally we say that, right? That this is the order of superiority, right? But certain of our own ulama from amongst the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they say first was the Abu Bakr, as Umar, Uthman, and then after as Uthman, they say then we're not sure. And if you look at hadith like this actually supports that view. Because if you look at this hadith here, it is not openly endorsing as Ali's Khilafat. You understand what I'm saying? Although the preferred view, I told you the preferred view of ulama is that after Uthman, the next virtuous person is as Ali radiallahu ta'ala. But they are from amongst ulama, they say that yes, we'll emphatically say as Abu Bakr was the most virtuous, as Umar was the second most virtuous, and as Uthman was the third most virtuous, right? And then they'll stop short and they say that after this it could be anyone. We don't endorse it was we don't say necessarily it was Umar. And hadith like these are the basis for that opinion. Because you know for a fact that as Ali radiallahu anhu's khilafat was fraught with a lot of differences. You had Jamal, you had Siffin. If you look at Uthman radiallahu ta'ala, the first part of his khilafat was also very, very smooth. It was very comfortable. It was an ala min haji nubuwa for the first 6 years, right? So there, if you look at the hadith, he's saying, now see there. So see here, he's saying, so this here, لها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني فساءه ذلك. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood what the the dream means, that for the first three khulafa, those will be ala min haji nubuwa, right? Right? Just say, Fasah Zalika, that's why he said, that's why Rasulullah said, Khilafat, Khilafatu Nubuwatin. It will be Khilafat of Nubuwat. Then he said, ثُمَّ يُؤْتِ اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ مَن يَشَاءُ. Then Allah Ta'ala will give the reins to whoever He wishes. So that shows you this hadith is only a tacit approval for the first three khulafa. It is not an approval for after the first three. ثم يؤتي الله الملك من يشاء. رواه الترمذي وأبو داود. You understood, Ismail? Is that what you were saying, Luqman? Is that what you were saying? Okay. Okay, mashallah. Good attempt, everyone. So fasa'a, both places, I think, yeah. So this person who saw the dream, he understood. See there. ثم رفع الميزان. Right? See there, look at it. ووزن عمر وعثمان فرجح عمر. Right. Actually, I made a mistake earlier. Sorry. I'm just checking the sharah now again. It means, same thing what I'm saying, but actually it means that the khilafatun nubuwa ala min haj nubuwa stops with Hazrat Umar, not with Uthman. Because look again, they see ya. See ya? وَوُزِدَ عُمَرُ وَعُثْمَانُ فَرَجَحَ عُمَرُ. So, as Umar and Uthman was weighed, and then as Umar was weightier than Uthman. So as Uthman wasn't weightier than anybody else. Uthman wasn't weightier than anybody else. So sorry, Maaf, I retracted earlier statement. So what the hadith is saying is that khilafatu ala minhaj nubuwa in the true sense will end with as Umar. And there are many hadiths that suggest that about the door that will be broken, etc., etc. Right? Remember. And then also, you know, I don't have to tell you that with the shahadat of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the fitan started, nah? Remember, there's a clear hadith where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, or rather that the Sahabi told as Umar that you are the door between the fitna. So as Umar said, tell me, will this door be open or will it be broken? So he said, no, it will be broken. As Umar radiallahu ta'ala understood, no, if this door is going to be broken, then what does that mean? That means now, once it's broken, it will not open again, right? So this hadith clearly points that there will be a difference between the khilafat of Shaykhain, and that means the two father-in-laws of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the two son-in-laws of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even though in many hadith, you done already in Aqidatul Tahawiyah and other hadith that shows the 30 years of Khilafat ala minhaj in the word, which ends with the Hassan, but that can be further broken up. That from that Khilafat, from that 30 years, the best and the highest was what? Was of Shaykhain, as Abu Bakr and as Umar, right? So as Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam understood that the first two will be the best. That's why he was sad. Ghamgin ho gaya. He became sad after that. That now after them too they'll be. And in reality, if you look at the reality, although without taking anything away from Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and without taking anything away from Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, the fact of the matter is that their khilafat was not the same. Like Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar, right? You understood? I mean, they were, you have studied their lifestyle, you you will be amazed, right? So some ulama say that if you look at, if we break Khilafu ala min Hajj Nubuwa, we say the first two, Hazrat Abu Bakr and Umar, that was Khilafat ala min Hajj Nubuwati khasatan. And then if you look at the Khilafat of Hazrat Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, it was Khilafatu ala min Hajj Nubuwati ammatan. And then the hadith say after will be mulkan aduda. Aduda means adda ya'uddu. يوم يعد الظالم على يديه يقول يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا. To bite on your fingers. So after the, so just remember that nicely now. First two was خلافة على منهاج النبوة خاصة, and the second two was خلافة على منهاج النبوة عامة, and after it was mulkan aduda. Mulkan aduda means a king where people will bite on their fingers. And that was the Umayyin, that was Muawiyah, Yazid, then Muawiyah ibn Yazid, etc., etc. Although as Umar bin Abdul Aziz, who's commonly known as the first Khalifa, he's excluded from this. All right, okay, read the next hadith, inshallah. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الفصل الثالث. عن ابن مسعود أن النبي قال يطلع عليكم رجل من أهل الجنة. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sitting with the Sahaba Ikram, and he just said like this, so he made a prediction that soon a person from the people of Jannah will appear before you. But he said يطلع عليكم رجل من أهل الجنة. فطلع أبو بكر, and all of a sudden as Abu Bakr appeared. ثم قال يطلع عليكم رجل من أهل الجنة. Then he said again, a person from the people of Jannah will appear. فطلع عمر, then as Umar radiallahu anhu appeared. رواه الترمذي, Imam Tirmidhi narrates this particular right. وقال هذا حديث غريب. So this was the miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that even before they appeared, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was informed that these people will be appeared, and we know that they are from amongst the Ashara Mubashara, those people who have been given the glad tidings of Jannat in this dunya. They are from those people who has been mentioned individually and collectively. Read the next riwayat. Subhanallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. عن عائشة رضي الله تعالى عنها نردنا خرج عائشة صديقة رضي الله تعالى عنها قالت بينما رأس رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في حجري. Once whilst the head of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam في حجري was resting in my lap في ليلة ضاحية on a bright night, right? So إذ قلت أشهد يا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم هل يكون لأحد من الحسنات, right? هل يكون لأحد من الحسنات عدد نجوم السماء. So normally in the countryside on a clear night, just on the page, then you will see a lot of stars in the sky. As it live in urban areas where there's normally a lot of light pollution, etc., we don't see so many skies. So he's saying, هل يكون لأحد من الحسنات عدد نجوم السماء? Will there be for anybody from the good deeds the amount of the stars in the sky? In other words, will anybody have so much good deeds as much as the stars in the sky? قال نعم, we should yes. Umaru, there's Umar radiallahu ta'ala has so much good deeds in his account, like the stars in the sky. قلت فأين حسنات أبي بكر? Then I said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if this is the amount of good deeds of Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, then tell me, what about the good deeds of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu? Right? So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned something similar to what Hazrat Umar mentioned. Remember at that time when Hazrat Umar said that Umar and all his actions is cannot equate to two actions of Rasul of Abu Bakr. So one was that took place in the daytime, and one took place in the nighttime. The one that took place in the daytime was what? When he stabilized the situation after the demise of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the one that took place at nighttime was um, when he prepared the cave and he looked after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Ghar Thawr. Remember? So here Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions something similar. He said, "Innama jami'u hasanati Umara ka hasanat wahidati min hasanati Abi Bakr." Verily, all the good deeds of Umar is like the stars in the sky, right? Innama jami'u hasanat Umara ka hasanat wahidatin. It is like one good deed min hasanati Abi Bakr, from the good deeds of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Rawahu Razinun. Imam Razin narrates this particular riwayat. I explained to you before about who Imam Razin was, right? So, because Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala lent his support to Nabi Sallallahu in the beginning of Islam, when there was no one to support him, when there was no one to support him, he was with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then his ikhlas. So, alhamdulillah, that brings us to the end of the chapter of the joint virtue of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhum and Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhum. May Allah ta'ala accept it from us, and may Allah ta'ala reward Hazrat Abu Bakr and Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala on behalf of us for their service to the deen. Reward them, because if it wasn't for their service, today we wouldn't be Muslims, right? So فَجَزَاهُمُ أَحْسَنَ الْجَزَاءِ. Allah ta'ala accept that. May Allah ta'ala make us truly appreciate it. So sometimes also we can also send Isalu Thawab to them. You recite something, you recite 2 rakat salah. Remember, according to Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Isalu Thawab you can do for Amali Badaniya. You recite the 2 rakat salah, you send the reward to them, you give some sadaqah, some charity. So Allah Ta'ala send this reward to the Ashab of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, send this to the Khulafa Arba'a, send this to the Ashara Mubashara, send this to the Ahl Badr, because of their services they rendered to Islam. Today we enjoy the benefit of Islam. Allah Ta'ala has blessed you with more wealth. You can do a udhiyah, you can do a qurbani, you can do one for the all of Sahaba Ikram. Remember, we say if it's a nafil qurbani, and you can do one on behalf of several people. You can say, Ya Allah Ta'ala, this qurbani I'm doing on behalf of all the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? So we owe them. We owe them big time. So we must also send, not that they need it, but just to repay the favor. We can also, as I said, send Isal Sawab, give charity on their behalf, do Qurbani on their behalf, read Salah on their behalf, do Umrah on their behalf. So we say, فَجَزَاهُمُ اللَّهُ أَحْسَنَ الْجَزَاءِ, and Allah Ta'ala rewarding the best of rewards on behalf of us. Okay, now the next chapter, Babu Manaqibi Uthmana, the chapter with regards to the virtue, again, Manaqib, Jama of Manqabatun, those qualities which make a person likable, which makes a person laudable in the sight of Allah and in the sight of Allah and His makhluk, right? حب النبي حب النبي الرسول مفترض. The love of the Nabi and the Rasul is faraz. وحب أصحابه نور, right? برهان, and the love of his companions, وحب أصحابه, it is نور ببرهان, it is a light with a proof, right? من كان يعلم أن الله خالقه, that person who knows Allah Ta'ala has created him, لا يرمين أبا بكر ببهتان, you will not accuse Abu Bakr with any false thing. ولا أبا حفص الفاروق صاحبه, and neither will he accuse Umar of any falsities, right? ولا لخليفة عثمان بن عفان, and neither will he accuse Uthman ibn Affan. أما علي, as for Ali رضي الله تعالى عنه, فمشهور فضائله, his virtue is well known, right? والبيت لا يبتني إلا بأراكني, and a house, it is not built except on a solid foundation, right? So obviously these are the foundational pillars of Islam. لو أن السماء دنت لمجد ومكرمة دنت لهم السماء. So if the sky took come low down, right? دنت, to praise anybody, ومكرمة, and to anybody, and to honor anybody, دنت لهم السماء, and the sky will come down for these people, right? Anyway, so now inshallah we're going to start with the virtue of Uthman radiallahu ta'ala. Hazrat Uthman, his name was Uthman, and like we know him, his father's name was Affan, and his laqab, like his title was Dhun Nurain. And that is on account of him having married, or having the good fortune of married two daughters of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember we mentioned before that as Abu Bakr lineage joined up with Nabi Sallallahu at the ninth generation, and we said as Umar radiallahu ta'ala joined up with Nabi Sallallahu in the eighth generation. Yes, Uthman radiallahu ta'ala, his generation joined up with Rasulullah sallallahu on the fifth generation. So this shows you he was closer family to Rasulullah sallallahu. You can say like the fifth cousin of Rasulullah sallallahu, as opposed to the other Sahaba Ikram. So Uthman, I told you before the advent of Islam, or maybe before the Hijri calendar was introduced, people would use big events to determine dates, right? There was no formal calendar. So, as Uthman radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was born 6 years after Waqi'atul Fil. You know the same, was it, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil, Alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil, right? And the interesting thing is, he was a recruit of who? Of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala invited him towards Islam, right? He was not a very tall person. He was medium height, and he was fairish, yellowish in color. He was broad-chested, and he had a thick beard. Even before Islam, he was considered to be a honorable, a noble from amongst the Quraysh. And we know his salient feature was modesty. He was an extremely modest person. And in addition to that, he was an extremely generous person. And we know he had the good fortune of marrying two daughters of Rasulullah Sallallahu Hazrat Ruqayya and Umm Kulthum radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. And we know that after Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was elected the Khalifa. So his Khilafat was just 12 days short of 12 days short of 12 years. So on the 18th of Zil Hijjah, 35 years, yeah, 35 years after Hijri, he was killed in a very oppressive way. And we done this, alhamdulillah, in Aqidatul Tahawiyah. They will come also in this lesson, there will come some details, inshallah. What you can say, the rebels from Egypt killed him, and he's buried in Jannatul Baqi or Baqi Gharqad. Until today, you know, you can see his grave. It's in the just when you come in, for those who went to Jannatul Baqi, when you just come in, right by the entrance, it's there. We stop there, we'll switch over to the tafsir now. Allah Ta'ala accept, inshallah. Are we finished with the English now?